So this was about enterprise data platform, in which we saw that what kind of data sources we can have, how data is stored, and what platforms do we have which we can use in order to process that data. And then we have a brief discussion on how that process or data and the results generated from data could be visualized. Now let's see that what are the main roles that are involved in a data science project, right? If you have a project which needs to be executed in data science domains, then what are the main specialization techniques, tools you will require to fully execute that project in the data science domain? And we will see that what are the different roles and what is the purpose of each role that is required in that data science project. So the very first role is the role of a data scientist, and whose main idea is to wrangle between the with the data. So it the basic objectives of the data scientist is to prove or disprove hypotheses, information and data gathering, because this is the most important thing in our data science, that we need to gather the data related to our problem, right? So it can be a data acquisition step, in which we could involve some hardware resources, or it could also be through some online open source resources, right? So the target is to gather the required data and information which could help us to solve that problem. The number third thing is the data wrangling now, and the number fourth thing is the design of algorithm and the machine learning model, and the last thing is to communicate this thing. So what is the hypothesis? Hypothesis is a supposition or proposed explanation made on the basis of limited evidence as a starting point for further investigation, right? So we need to have a starting point from which we could start our investigation. So hypothesis basically is a proposed explanation which is made initially based on some limited evidence. The data wrangling is the transformation and mapping data from one raw data form into another format, with the intent of making it more appropriate and valuable for a variety of downstream purposes such as analytics. Because initially, when you gather data, whether it is some kind of hardware resource or you are gathering data from some open source or repository, in both of these cases the data will not be in a very good form. So you need to map the raw data into some another kind of format, so that it is feasible or it becomes appropriate for further processing, so that we could generate analytics from the data. So this is a very important step in which we are performing some kind of pre-processing on the raw data, so that it could become appropriate for further processing. The number second major role is the role of a data engineer. So the main duties of a data engineer is to build data driven platforms, because we need a platform on which we are executing our processes on the data. The number second thing is operationalize algorithms and machine learning models, because the machine learning models which were initially designed by the data scientists, they need to be executed and they need to be in a format so that they can be operationalized. The third thing is data integration, because data integration is also a very important and critical step, because it can happen that in the data gathering step, which was the previous step, maybe we will have data from different sources, right? So in order to process the data, we need to integrate data which we have obtained from different sources, so that we can perform our machine learning algorithm on that. So in before that, we need to perform a data integration step, which is the responsibility of a data engineer, and the monitoring of that data is also the responsibility of data engineer. The number third role or the duty is the data visualization, right? Because once we have some kind of results generated from our machine learning models and algorithms, then we need to visualize that data, or we need to visualize the results which are generated. So this is the third role in which the data is visualized. So we are basically developing some kind of dashboards. The purpose of those dashboards are basically to view the data or the results in a proper format. So we are basically trying to visualize the data in a good format so that we can have an understanding of the results and we can understand the analytics. And the data visualization step also involves that it should provide insight through visual means. So visual means can be some kinds of charts, some kinds of graph, or different types of graphs. So all these things comes under the data visualization step. And then the next thing is basically the management of the project, which is done by the process owner. So the main responsibilities of process owner is to manage the project and manage the stakeholders which are involved in the whole project, and to develop or maintain the overall vision of the project. And it also includes different kinds of facilitations to different stakeholders. Now, the skill sets which are required for our data scientists can be divided into three major categories, right? So we can divide the skill set for a data scientist to an initial level, which is a satisfactory level, then an average level, which is the middle level, and then we also have an advanced level, right? So depending upon the skill set which our data scientists have, we can divide it into three categories. Now let's have a look at what is the main techniques and tools involved in each category. So if we talk about a satisfactory domain or satisfactory category, then it involves that the data scientists have a basic knowledge of mathematics or statistics or probability. So it involves basic knowledge of stats and probability. And another important thing is the basic understanding of machine learning algorithms, because machine learning is basically at the core of data science. You are basically in processing your data in data science through machine learning algorithms. So the basic understanding of machine learning is very necessary. And what basic machine learning is, it's about classification and regression, and different types of regression and different types of classification. All these things comes under the basic machine learning. And another thing is about feature engineering, because we are basically extracting features from data, and those features need to be engineered or modeled in a way that algorithms could be applied on them. And the last thing you can say is the command of basic tools such as Excel or some structured query language, or maybe through some kind of basic knowledge of Python, R, or MATLAB, or these kind of programming languages. So if a data scientist have this basic knowledge, then we can say that he's at a satisfactory level, but not an average data scientist or an advanced data scientist. An average data scientist will have some more advanced skills. For example, if we talk about machine learning, he will know the basics of machine learning as well as some advanced algorithms, such as he will have the knowledge of neural networks, not only shallow networks but also some a little bit of deep neural networks. And he should also have knowledge of the advanced classification algorithms, which are supervised as well as unsupervised. So for example, for supervised, he should have knowledge of support vector machines, principal component analysis, naive Bayes, and for unsupervised, he should know about the k-means clustering and other clustering algorithms. Also, an average data scientist should have some good level of experience of different programming languages such as R, which is a statistical tool, and Python, in which you can develop and execute machine learning models. And in order to handle data, he should have some good experience of structured data and unstructured data through SQL or NoSQL. Another thing is that he should also be familiar with different business intelligence tools, and those tools will be helping him for performing different visualizations, and he should also have some domain knowledge and also some good communication skills.